Hello, welcome to artistinschool.com. Today I'm going to be telling you 10 interesting facts plus one amazing bonus fact about the great American artist Andy Warhol. Warhol was an artist, a director, a film producer and leading light in the visual art movement known as pop art. He used a variety of medium including painting, silk screening and filmmaking in his work to explore the link between artistic expression, advertising and the celebrity culture that flourished in the 1960s. Fact number 1. Andrea Warhol, he would anglicise his name to Andy Warhol later in life, was born in Pittsburgh, the youngest of 3 children to immigrant parents from Czechoslovakia. His mother was devoted to him and used to go door to door selling the flowers she made from tin cans to supplement the family income. She would also read Andy stories from comics and reward him with chocolate bars when he'd finished colouring pages from his colouring books. When Andy was 24, his mother moved into his apartment and lived with him until 1971, when he was 43 years old. Fact number 2. Around the age of 9 years old, Andy Warhol contracted chorea, which is a nervous disorder that left him bedridden for a number of months. As a result, his skin and his hair lost pigment. The enforced time at home resulted in him using lots of colouring books, reading Superman comics and idolising celebrities. Maybe that was the inspiration for the pop art that was to come later in life. Fact number 3. Even at a young age, Andy Warhol thought differently from his peers. An incident that happened at high school illustrates this perfectly. In one of his art lessons, his class was asked to prepare and illustrate a Willa Cather short story. Most of his classmates painted pictures of trains, bridges and the hero of the story's suicidal leap. Andy Warhol's response was simply to pour a tin of red paint onto a sheet of paper from a standing position. It splattered all over the paper. Painting finished. One of his teachers thought his painting was the most inventive painting he had ever seen. Another teacher thought he was the student least likely to succeed. Fact number 4. In 1949, Andy moves to New York with artist Philip Pearlstein. He gets his first job working for Glamour magazine, where he illustrates an article called What is Success? He uses a very crude, blotted line to create the drawing, a complete contrast to the sophisticated, detailed drawings and illustrations of the time. His drawings were an instant success, and he was soon regarded as the next hot new talent. Fact number 5. In 1960, Andy is a rich commercial artist and is at the top of his trade, but he desires fame. After all, who has ever heard of a famous commercial artist? Art provides the answer, so he begins to create hand-painting pop paintings based on comic strips such as Popeye. Around this time, he starts to wear outrageous wigs that are often ill-fitting. As he once said, "I am a deeply superficial person. If you wear a wig, everybody notices." Fact number 6. When walking around a supermarket with a friend, he came up with the idea of creating pictures of Campbell soup cans. He screen printed hundreds of prints featuring all 32 varieties of the soup. 4 out of 5 of every can of soup sold in America at this time was produced by Campbell's, so he thought his prints were bound to be popular. He adopted an assembly line production techniques to create hundreds of images of soup cans. And in 1962, the Ferris Gallery in Los Angeles gave Andy a solo exhibition of his soup can paintings. As a joke, the gallery next door put real Campbell soup cans in the window, advertising them as 5 for $1. Fact number 7. In 1963, Andy set up a studio in a disused factory. He invited various weird and wonderful individuals to come and work with him. The factory was covered on the inside with silver foil, which created really interesting effects when he used flash photography. He created a whole series of screen prints of electric chairs, of car crashes, Elvis Presley and the death of President Kennedy. Fame was increasing and the glitterati were beginning to take notice. Fact number 8. In 1964, Andy moved out of the painting studio and set up a film studio. He produced a number of very unusual films, including one about the Empire State Building. It was simply a film of the lights on the building going on and off and lasted for 8 hours, and people came to watch it. His film Chelsea Girls, created in 1966, was a double screen movie and was his greatest critical and commercial success. But in 1965, after his flower exhibition in Paris, Andy announced that he was going to retire from painting. This was a fantastic marketing strategy. Buy your Andy Warhol paintings now, because there's not going to be any more of them. Fact number 9. On the 3rd of June 1968, Valerie Solanas walked into Andy's film studio and shot him twice in the stomach. She claimed to represent Scum, the Society for Cutting Up Men, and blamed Andy for losing her film script, which is why she shot him. Andy later described the incident, saying it seemed unreal, like watching a movie, only the pain was real. Fact number 10. Between 1970 and the 1980s, Andy was in demand. Stars including Mick Jagger and Truman Capote flocked to have their portraits produced. Perhaps his most famous portraits of this period centre around Chairman Mao, the Chinese leader, and President Nixon. You may be aware that in China red is revered and regarded as a lucky colour, which might explain why Warhol chose to colour Mao's face blue. And controversially, his 1972 presidential poster for Nixon, whose face he coloured green, contains the interesting slogan, "Vote McGovern." Bonus fact. In 1987, after having a routine operation for a gallbladder complaint, Andy was put into the care of a private nurse, but she failed to notice that his lips had turned blue. As a result, Andy Warhol died of heart failure, aged just 58. The sale of the contents of his house raised $25 million and formed the basis of the Andy Warhol Foundation for the Visual Arts, which gives grants to organisations and institutions that support up-and-coming artists. Andy started life in a relatively poor immigrant family, but through his enormous creative energy, his talent and his sheer ambition, he ended up becoming a rich and famous celebrity artist. He did indeed live the American dream. Thank you for watching artistinschool.com. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you've liked the video, it would be really good if you could give the video a like. If you really enjoyed the video, then perhaps you could subscribe to my channel. You can do so by clicking my face here. That would be wonderful. Thank you very much for watching.